couple of audience questions here. So, first one is, and this will be to Dan, to you. What is your position on transparency with voters, to include those who disagree with you on social media?
Is that my question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think I know who wrote that. Listen, folks, I've taken a lot of abuse on social media, and it's starting to piss me off. And if you're in the room and you're doing that, cut it out. I get better reception from MAGA people than I do from self-righteous, holier-than-thou VFLers who have not won an election in 30 years. So yeah, you swear at me, you're gone. You make a threat to me, you're gone. I don't have any obligation over social media to respond kindly to the people that do that. And I know there's some folks in this room who do. Just cut it out, folks, okay? But that's my response. I don't have any obligation for, if somebody wants to come to my Facebook page and make threats or swear at me, dude, you're gone. I don't deal with that.
Can you repeat the question?
Certainly.
The context.
Here we go. What is your position on transparency with voters, to include those who disagree with you on social media?
Court of public opinion is a difficult thing, especially when we deal with internet, and keyboard warriors is the term. The best thing that I found is to leave them up there for everybody to see, unless it gets to a point where it's actually damaging or threatening to the public as a whole. Then I announce it and say why it's coming down and what was the context of what's going on. If it just disappears, there's no accountability for the keyboard warrior, and there's no ability for the community to know what had happened. Instead, it just disappears. If we want to create safe spaces, it's with respect, and it's giving respect until it's not given back. If it's not given back, then you don't have to interact with them. You don't have to continue to engage. You just ignore and you move on. But if they then start attacking other people, that's when you have to create a safe space, but you announce it and you say why you did. Anything else can be seen as, I don't want to get into it, but it can lead to a lot of different people perceiving things differently than what actually happened, and that's the worst thing you could do in the public opinion. So thank you.
Our next senator should have a track record of serving the community they plan to represent. What has been your involvement in the district?
So, besides ASPE, which also represents the workers at Wright County, I also work state level with DOT, which has workers within 29. I have advocated within the school district within Buffalo. I've also posted the get outs before it became the night of action, not action, sorry, the picnic day. Me and Holstrom have actually accidentally alternated on this beforehand, trying to get people out of their houses so we can end these silos individually. I've also advocated for getting communities together within Monticello and working to change the DFL from within, and worked my way up till here. It's only been the last about 4 years with the DFL, but here we are, and the world's asking us to do a lot more with it, and 29 is definitely needing more representation for the people that have been left behind. So I'm following through. Thank you.
Would you repeat it?
Yes.
Our next senator should have a track record of serving the community they plan to represent. What has been your involvement in the district?
Well, I have lived in Rockford for over 19 years. I practiced law out here. I appeared in court in Wright County quite often. I do pro bono work. I do more something called low bono, which is you don't charge the full freight. I represent a lot of women. Usually it's women seeking orders for protection. I have participated in the moot court program as an attorney. I'm a member of the Wright County Bar Association. So every year there's a competition among high schoolers. They're given an issue and they present arguments and they need judges. And there's many times, many years, where I've served as a moot court judge. I've gone to Buffalo High School a couple of times and given presentations on how government works. And I have been active in VFL politics, though usually from Wright County at a national level. I worked on Hillary's campaign, I worked on Joe Biden's campaign. So I've done a lot of things here, and I talk to my neighbors. Sometimes I just randomly go up to people in grocery stores or other places and just tell them who I am, and I ask them a question. And usually you get a pretty good conversation back. So those are some of the things that I do. Thank you.
Dan, this one's for you.
Okay.
What will you do specifically to address water overconsumption during drought conditions in our district?
Stop data centers. Okay, folks, listen. Data centers, especially the one proposed for Monticello, are going to consume 3 million to 6 million gallons of water a day. Now, the developers have engaged in sleight of hand. They said, well, we have a new plan that's only going to be 78,000 gallons of water. It's pure malarkey. And the reason is that's for a small building that can be cooled through a hybrid combination of air and water. But they're talking over the next 8 years of a system that's the size of about 50 football fields. 1 megawatt of heat, 1 megawatt hour produces a megawatt of heat, and that requires about 10 to 12,000 gallons to cool. And if you multiply that, they're talking about a 300 megawatt system that they're going to have to run power lines in to service that. They're going to take water from the ground, and yeah, it's just going to suck up all the water. Now, one of the problems when you have a city do an environmental impact study is that it stops at the boundaries of the city. And what it doesn't recognize is that there's this big shared aquifer below, and when that aquifer gets depleted, it gets damaged. So we're seeing a time right now that's a drought. It's hot, and this is the time when farmers need water. And one of the problems with what the developers do, they talk about the annual water usage. That's wrong. You need to talk about peak water usage during July, August, and September, because that's when farmers and the rest of us need it most, and that's when we won't even be able to flush our toilets. So, to answer the question really quickly, data centers, we have to stop them.
It comes with better protection, so regardless if there's a data center or a water bottling plant or a mining facility, we need to have a DNR that's able to physically shut off the water if we get to and monitor our aquifers across the state. If we do not have that enforcement or that capability, it's just going to be a whack-a-mole of the next thing that we want to say no to. If we don't actually create proper protections, and the DFL has already started this with giving it so that no high user can go under the water permit for a city. That's already happened in another town where a water bottling plant used the city's water permit, which then allowed it to sneak under the radar and never have its water turned off because it was treated at the same level as human consumption. Data centers were actually lowered to the point where their level of acceptable is way below that of even farms. And farms aren't even, they're like number 5. So one is water use for us drinking, a couple layers below that, and then farms. Way below that would be data centers, and if we don't make sure that that is in place, then we do need to have a moratorium to slow it down so we can actually have strong enforcements that aren't just monetary, but the ability to shut off the water of high users. And that's what we need to go forward. Thank you.
Louis, this one's for you. The Iran War. At the present cost of $35 billion plus, Minnesota's share of tax dollars sent for this would be well into the millions. Where do you stand on this?
I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't trust our president in any promises he makes. I didn't think this was going to go well for us, and here we are. And I also know that we're running for state, and there's not much we can do internationally about this. Where I stand on it is I wouldn't have gone in the first place with this whole situation, and I definitely wouldn't have hired P-Tax as our. But that's about it. There's not much more we can do about it. We gotta backstop as much as we can so Minnesota can weather the storm. That's just the practical nature of this. We don't get to say a lot on the federal level, other than making Minnesota as strong as possible so we weather it. Thank you.
Repeat this.
Yeah, all right.
At the present cost of $35 billion plus, Minnesota's share of tax dollars sent for this would be well into the millions. This is the Iran War. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I mean, obviously, that's a federal issue. And obviously, there's not a heck of a lot that we as Senate candidates can do about it. I will say this, the Iran war is nuts. It was when they started it. It's nuts. Not only it's going to continue to be nuts until we stop doing what we're doing. It's kind of like the DFL here in the sense that we tend to do the same things over and over and over again, expecting we're going to get a different result. But we all know that's the definition of insanity. And we just got to stop doing that. What can we do? Well, I guess I would say we need to elect, Democrats at the federal level and send them to Congress and tell them stop doing this stuff.
Thank you. Dan, for you. As a senator, how would you approach affordable housing within the district and the state?
Well, number one, we do need affordable housing, and I think we need affordable rural housing. This gets back to something we talked about earlier. We have $70+ billion every 3 years to work with. I'm not going to raise taxes, but we have to look carefully at how we use that money. One of the things that the legislature could do is use seed grants to fund rural foundations that will help people in rural areas into more affordable housing. And I would be an advocate of that. Not necessarily allocating tax money. There's a seed fund, there's development that goes along with that. And that's one of the things that I would do.
Bruce?
Money by itself is not going to be the solution for this. We have a lot of different codes and a lot of different zoning that makes it difficult for housing to be made quickly. The governor and Klobuchar is already talking about making it easier for manufactured homes to go across the state. We definitely want to promote that here too. They make it so it's more affordable. We also need to emphasize the need that we need starter homes, not 3,000 square foot houses that are unattainable for a new family. That gets into zoning and advising and trying to make it so there is a more appetite for creating some starter homes. The other aspect of that goes into transportation And a lot of neighborhoods, the contractor has to actually lay down the road, lay down the piping, lay down the sewer and all the other utilities, and try to recoup that in the cost of the housing. So that makes it almost impossible for you to make a profit when you make a house that's only like 1,600 square feet. There needs to be better projects emphasized from the state level that helps build those neighborhoods so we can actually make it affordable for people to buy homes again and allow the overall market to allow people to get out of their house, to then move up to the next house, and move on to the next house, which then creates downward pressure for the affordability of housing. Thank you.
All right, final question. What are your thoughts on term limits?
I believe in them. There are several states that have actually put in 20-year state legislature limits, and I would be for that. And I also be already signed on to have it so the states start the amendment process to put term limits on the federal government. Pretty strong on that.
Dan?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on term limits?
Well, again, we have to stop thinking in terms of cliches. It's pretty to do that, but folks, we gotta stop if people are gonna start taking this seriously. Now in Minnesota, term limits the qualifications to run for an office are established by the Minnesota Constitution. And the Senate can't change that. If the only way that could be changed is with a constitutional amendment. So I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to go to the Senate and say, yeah, we're going to change term limits. We don't have anything to do with federal term limits. And again, unless the Constitution is changed, the United States Constitution doesn't establish term limits or a limited term for people who hold federal office. So what do? We could, I suppose, propose a constitutional amendment. Maybe. Problem is, there's so much other stuff that we have to do. So right now, Wright County is really getting shafted on taxes. There are state programs, reimbursement for counties, reimbursement for other things. And Wright County is about 78th, 79th on the list. Okay? What that means is we pay more taxes because we get less benefit from them. We got to start thinking about practical issues like that. We have to, I think, step back into our identity as reasonable Democrats who have reasonable solutions to real issues that affect real people. And stop doing this cliche stuff and this sort of liberal litmus test of what we have to do. And I'm being, okay.
All right. All right. With that, we'll move to concluding remarks. Because Dan went first for opening, Louis, you will go first for concluding remarks. Each candidate may make a concluding remark up to 2 minutes. And Louis, you go first.
I appreciate the time here. I respect the Delano Chamber of Commerce for facilitating this and keeping forum rules and having it so we can have this open discussion on things that we stand for instead of stand against. The idea that we aren't trying new things or reaching across the aisle or doing new things while also being a new person in the area for the DFL sounds weird, but here we are. And I have always said, as a leader in my union, that if we do not include the voices in the room, we're eliminating the room from the discussion. And there's an old union adage, If you're not at the table, you're on the table as the menu. And we need to start having and bringing people in and having that discussion more than top-down solutions and I know best, because that is not how we get stuff done. We get stuff done as a group, we get stuff done as Minnesotans. Not as DFL, not as Republican, not as independent, but as Minnesotans working towards this common goal of making Minnesota stronger, specifically our area, Wright County, stronger, so we can have our individual communities withstand the storm. And we need to get to that point. We need to bring back our community identity. And it's not up for discussion, it needs to happen. Thank you.
Could you repeat the question?
No question this time, it's final remarks.
Okay, thanks so much. Okay, folks, remember what I said when we started. We need to ask, what do we need to do to win an election? And whatever that is, it can't be what we've already been doing because it hasn't worked. And I don't know how else to say this, it hasn't worked. Take my friend, Mr. McNutt. He ran 8 months ago and he got clobbered. He lost by a 2-1 margin. But the thing that's really disturbing is when he was done with that election, he still had $10,000 in his campaign account. You can go online and research this.
Unacceptable.
And that tells me that either he didn't know what he was doing or he just folded. And there's a lot of psychological pressure. There's a lot of pressure to give up. I don't know why he sat on that $10,000. But we need to do a better job of campaigning. Now, when Lewis started this election, his message was the same. And he's only changed it with material that he's lifted from my website. So I'm glad I could be a favorable influence in the proceeding. But we have to start winning elections, and we don't do it by doing what we've always been doing. It's comfortable, it makes us feel good, but I think that we have this learned helplessness. And folks, 30 seconds, what we do is we figure, well, we can't win anyway, so let's just nominate a friend, he'll run, pass out some brochures, and when it's all done, we'll get together and we'll complain about politics and bring some coffee and eat some donuts, and yeah, we've done our thing. I'm here with a different message. We can win with the right campaign, and that's what I'm bringing. Thank you.
I want to again thank the candidates.